Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dolly Tales. So we're in a different location because someone asked if we could show the dolls in like better frame. The reason why I film in the dining room a lot is because the lighting's really good because there's that sliding door there.
And because the way the paneling reflects the light.
Yeah. So it just tends to, our house is kind of dark and I don't have like fancy lighting, so it's just the best place usually to film. Sorry, she's trying to get in the hay.
She chooses to film where she didn't see Roxy.
That's very distracting. I'll put a little clip in of Roxy here because if you guys didn't see the community post, she had a stroke a few weeks ago, we think. And we didn't think she was going to make it, but she's made a recovery of sorts, so she's handicapped now. And we've been modifying things in the cage so she can get
around better
to go. But she can actually move pretty fast if you care.
Say hello. I'm doing better. I'm a handicap now. I have trouble getting around. But Mum made it so I can get into the hay box without having to jump into it. And I like to eat my food. You can see I'm sitting by some food. I have a very hungry appetite. I'm always hungry. Yes. We're doing really well and we're doing physical therapy. Yes. Yes, we are. And I can still run fast even though my back leg is paralyzed. Yes.
Filming in here today, I try to have the camera zoomed in a bit more so when we hold up the doll you can see more of the details. But I don't want these to feel too much like a collection video where we like do close-ups of the dolls because, you know, we have like the collection videos, so we try to kind of create a different atmosphere for these. And my camera doesn't autofocus, so I can't like put the doll up by the camera and it won't focus on it. I have to like hit record and it's like a whole thing. We thought it would be fun, as I was working on rewriting some things in my 90s Barbie album on Flickr, to maybe show you some of the dolls from bins and lots that we got in the past, so before I had a YouTube channel, where you wouldn't have seen them all together like this. So today we're going to be talking about dolls from Bob, which isn't going to make sense. So there's a whole story behind these dolls. Back in 2013, it was about a year after my dad passed away, not quite, he used to have a huge toy truck collection, and if you guys watched our house tour from 2 years ago, you would have seen the ones we kept, and there was still like, we kept like about 200. They were just smaller.
Right.
So he had a huge toy truck collection, but Dad did not take care of his stuff like we take care of our dolls. And it was very overwhelming. There were trucks everywhere. They were getting dusty. They were getting broken. Our house looked like hoarders at the time. So one of Dad's friends got us in touch with a friend of his named Bob, who sets up at flea markets and you know, sells different things. And obviously people who set up at the flea market regularly, they buy things off of people to create a stock. So it's not like they're just selling their own things, if that makes sense. So he came over to look at Dad's trucks and kind of work out a deal with us. And of course, as someone who collects toys and is like interested in things like that, we got on the topic of dolls, and he was really interested in our doll collection, and we showed him some of our doll displays at the time. And he said that he had this big lot of Barbies that he bought off of this girl who, I don't remember the exact story, I think she was going to college or something. It was many years before, and he had been selling off her collection of dolls little by little, and all that was left was this, like, you know, a few rejected dolls. But he said he would be more than happy to bring them over to us on a different day for free because he knew we would do good things with them. And that's how we ended up with these dolls. I can't remember exactly how long it was. I think it was like the next weekend he came over with this paper bag.
See, whereas I feel like it took a longer time, like several months.
It wasn't several months. It was like within a few weeks. Because
oh, okay.
It was, remember, like, we sold them not long before flea market season started. And we had these before the $60 bin.
Oh, okay. I think you're right.
So, he did show up with the paper bag. Most of them were naked. There was a lot of dolls with cut hair, broken necks. So these were the few that we could save. And the irony is that the previous fall, so we got these dolls in the spring. So right as flea market season was winding down in the fall, I had actually seen this man in the dolls at the flea market, and I have a really good memory for remembering dolls that I don't buy. And there's one doll in here specifically that when I saw her, I was like, that's why these dolls feel familiar. later because I wanted to save them, but they were so scruffy I didn't like have a need for them. So it's kind of funny that we had seen them a few months before and then ended up being reunited with them. One of the nicest dolls from the lot.
This is Foam and Color Barbie. She was our first blue version. We had the pink one growing up. And the reason I really was like craving this doll is because our cousin's now wife had us fix up her childhood dolls, and she also had a Foam and Color Barbie, and
that was like not all that long before.
Right, and it made me remember how much I wanted the blue one. But this doll was a lot nicer than Chrissy's doll, actually. But then we got another one of these later that doesn't have her outfit, but her hair is really thick and full.
It was literally like a few weeks later.
I know, so it's like, it's just funny because I kept seeing, oh, here's one that's not that nice, here's one that's really nice, and oh, I thought this one was nice, and then.
And we already had her outfit waiting for her.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so I really like this girl.
This was technically my second Sparkle Eyes Barbie, but this is the first of the ones I still have. So as a kid growing up, I had gotten one of these dolls in a random lot. We don't remember the lots we got as much as kids as we do now, so if we do a video on them, they'll probably be lumped in together because we didn't have like an official inventory. We didn't identify everyone back then. But I did get a Sparkle Eyes Barbie back then, and I had her for many years, but right when we first started getting back into dolls in 2011, I decided to like prune my collection. I've mentioned this many times. And while I was doing that, I was going through the dolls, and I had a pile of ones I was going to get rid of, like sell at a yard sale and or donate. I had that Sparkle Eyes Barbie in the pile, and then one of my childhood dolls, like old school, needed a new body because they had like guinea pig shoes or something, and that doll, the Sparkle Eyes,
Roxy didn't do it.
Happened to have the same body make and like mold as my childhood doll, so I took her head off and threw it away, which is very wasteful. There's nothing wrong with that doll's head. And of course, not long after, as we got really back into dolls, I felt guilty because that kind of goes against everything that I am as a collector. I'm like, you know, we're like a doll adoption agency. We take in the unwanted.
Like if there's a way to save the doll, within reason, we'll do it.
And this doll didn't have a haircut. Her body was great. Her rhinestones were on her eyes. She had her earrings and everything. So I really regretted that. And then when Bob brought over the bag, I was so excited to find another Sparkle Eyes Barbie, and we actually reunited her with this outfit. This was not hers. I believe this outfit came from the Jewel Hair Mermaid lot.
So several years later.
Several years later.
Is, I want to say, our first cotton style Barbie that we, like, the oldest one we still have. We had a blonde one with butchered hair as kids.
From the same time frame.
Yes.
That I got from one of those lots.
But I thought she was really cool. I mean, her hair's really thin.
They already have thin hair because they
and it's sad, but she's really cool, and she just has a really unique face. And this shirt is actually hers.
Yes,
we got
it was one of the only pieces of clothing we got from.
And I really like her.
Pretty Surprise Barbie, aka Jill. So I had one of these growing up. I got her at the flea market. We bought her with it's like a blue dining room table set from the 80s.
And a bicycle.
And a bicycle, yes. The dining room set makes its way into a lot of photos on Flickr.
You guys are probably sick of seeing it already.
Yeah, it was great because Becky's wheelchair could fit where we were missing the chair. Jenny was one of my favorites, and don't lick my knee. That's disgusting. And she's actually looks a lot different than Jenny. I have both of their faces on my Flickr because they just have a very different look about them. And she was in really bad condition. It took me like a long time to get her hair looking this way. It's actually two different hair types. It's not something you see all the time on Barbies, but sometimes like companies will mix Conneclon and Saran. So her golden blonde is Saran, and then her underneath is Conneclon. And so the Saran portion was really trashed. I actually had to flat iron it and trim it a lot, and now it looks like brand new, but usually you don't have to flat iron.
And I feel like because her hair is thin, so she's missing a lot of the Conneclon underlayer. I feel like her hair feels just generally sleeker than Jenny's because it's missing a lot of the Conneclon. So this was our, I believe, first ever Western Stampin' Barbie. Yep. And I really like her because I kind of remembered the line as a kid. It was kind of iconic, and I remembered it when we got the Ultimate Barbie book, and I was like, oh, those are really cool. And I think these pants, this is not her original bottoms.
No.
But Shelly and I thought these would work with the top.
I already had these pieces since I was a kid.
Oh, that's right.
I got them in a lot.
Yeah, these dolls were mooches. We didn't get a lot of their clothing.
No, I believe we got one dress. No, 2 dresses. One was from a fashion pack. It was really torn up. And that shirt.
And it was like just literally a handful of clothes, which is probably why we didn't even ask the price when we saw them at the flea market. But her earrings, this is one of my favorite pairs Shelly ever made.
That was back when I first started getting adventurous.
Yeah, and I don't know, something about these I've always really loved. They bring out a lot in her. She has a really pretty face.
Da-da-da! Cool times, Barbie. I have several of these.
4 or 5.
She's my shabbiest one. And as you can see, she doesn't have her outfit. In her defense, though, I only have outfits for my dolls I got boxed. I didn't really need her at the time, and she was right at the cusp there when we were going through the dolls of do we keep her or not, because she was missing a lot of hair. And you can tell her hair is still pretty thin in these 2 ponytails.
But she has a weakness for the 80s, and I have a weakness for the late 80s, early 90s.
Not even just that, but Cool Times is my favorite Barbie line of all times, if you did not know. I loved the soda shop as a kid, and when I saw the dolls that went with it on the box, I wanted them, and I didn't even know Allison was one of them.
Because Allison was much more shaped than her.
I decided that I was going to try to save her anyways, and sometime later, about a year later, I was going to do a lot of reroutes for my childhood dolls. And our Dance Magic doll we had growing up, who was from the Salvation Army and had a mullet haircut, the rest of her Connect-A-Lawn hair that hadn't been cut was still really nice. I boil washed it and it was really white and nice. It hadn't grayed with age. So I decided to be thrifty, and I actually cut off what was left of Christine's hair, and I put it aside. Christine got all Saran hair, and then I took some of the Connect-A-Lawn hair from Christine and I filled in her missing plugs. So you can get pretty thrifty like that, because I didn't want to do a whole reroute on this doll.
Glitter Beach, and this doll is really unique because we have 2 others.
I got them in a bin growing up.
I was about to say, those are both childhood, and I think you got them together.
Pattern here. A lot of our dolls were used.
Yes, a lot of secondhand Barbie.
We didn't have a lot of new ones, but we always fit.
The thing is, around 2003, 2004, 2002, Dad was doing the monetary compensation thing big time, so we were always either at a toy store or at the flea market shopping for dolls, because Dad was just spoiling us rotten in that time. But our childhood Glitter Beach Barbies have really different faces from her. She has almost less color in my opinion, but more wideness in the eyes. And I think she's really unique, so she's one of those dolls I'll look at her and go, oh, that's someone from Bob. I don't even have to second guess myself.
Yeah, I made her with that outfit too.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
I actually think I had that necklace.
I was gonna say, you gave her this necklace and everything.
Yeah, I had.
I feel like her head was floating around when we got her.
Yeah, I think that's a donor body. And Stella, she is my second Island Fun Barbie. I had, oh my god, this is really ironic, Esperanza was my childhood one, and I got her in one of those bins we got at the flea market as a kid, and I named them really exotic things. You know how some people like to give dolls old lady names, or I don't know, really trendy names? I went for Nefertiti, Sacagawea, Esperanza.
And I was reading
Nova.
a book with an Esperanza. I was reading The Bean Trees. I don't know if anyone here's heard of it, but it had an Esperanza and a Luann and some other name.
Oh, that's where I got Luann's name.
Yeah, you got there because you got Esperanza and Luann together, so you named them after names that I mentioned in this book. So then this one, she decided to name Estella. I was rooting for the name Estrella, which means star in Spanish, because Esperanza means hope.
But then you said Estella was really pretty.
But then, yeah, you went with you said Estella, and I said, oh, actually, that's prettier. And then later, when we got a third, we named her Estrella.
And that third doll, who is actually in really bad shape, she was wearing this outfit. She was only $1, and I was like, oh, I need that outfit. And so I gave the nicest doll the outfit. I don't usually do that, but she's just so pretty. She has really nice hair. Don't judge right now, because this really curly saran does not stay very nice in storage despite many efforts. So, but when you first boil wash it, it looks
She has really nice hair.
I always want to sing My Romance.
This is Red Romance, not My Romance. And I don't know, I just thought she was really cool because she's like a grocery Valentine.
She was the only one that had her outfit.
Yes, and I also thought that was cool. So she kind of stood out. I think she has a pretty face with like the red lips and the blue eyes and the twinkly eyes. So she's really cool, and
we consider her the lucky one of the bin.
Definitely, and she's one of those ones that when I see her in the container, I'm like, oh, it's Red Romance.
And I always liked the grocery dolls because when I would be grocery shopping with Mom, I would want them. But Mom wouldn't buy them for me. And
Dad would have.
Yeah. And also because I remember my friend growing up who lived like on our street, she had a lot of different like Christmas themed like grocery Barbies, and I was always covetous of her collection. Then we have a Bath Time Fun Barbie from 1990. She's my second one. Again, my first one came from one of those bins I had growing up. And this lady looks a lot different than my childhood doll. They're, I believe, different country makes. So if the dolls were manufactured in different countries back in like even nowadays, like if you look at a Monster High doll produced in China versus Indonesia, sometimes they carry very differently.
Like your Skull Shores gift set Jackie and your regular Skull Shores Jackie. And one hot, one not.
It'll be like a very universal look. Sometimes two dolls from the same manufacturing country can look different if they were like later or earlier releases from each other. But this lady is really pretty. I think she's quite a bit prettier than my first one, but not in better shape. And I actually already had this bathing suit waiting for her, I believe, when I got her, and I made her these cute little earrings. So I love her a lot, even though I already had one just like her. I'm very fond of like these dolls because they were like a shade away from being in the garbage. I mean, if people throw away things like those Disney princess dolls,
oh yeah,
that or one of our relatives gave us recently, that were like new, then they would definitely.
Oh yeah, I mean, like some of the stuff that people have thrown away or left outside their houses is like top notch compared to some of the stuff we've actually seen for sale in the flea market.
Brand new, and those were not.
And there's a lot of dolls that we've actually bought because we look at them and we're like, if no one buys these now and like 5 years from now when they're rotten and moldy and nobody wants to bother with them, someone's just gonna throw them out.
That's often why we buy things.
This is Felix, and
Pretty Hearts Barbie.
So Pretty Hearts Barbie, for some reason, when I was a kid, I got it for my birthday. I don't know if maybe I didn't like I was mad at the friend who gave me my doll for my birthday at the time.
I know why you didn't like her.
Well, and I named her Faith, and there was a girl at school I didn't like named Faith, but why would I name her after a girl at school that I didn't like?
You didn't like her because she was more modern looking.
That's what it was.
I didn't like how she was advertised and everything because they like it was like a new era of Barbie.
Yes, and I didn't like that because I'm really into like the like 88 to 93 era, like that's what I remember. Like that to me is iconic, and as a kid I was a lot snobbier than I am now.
See,
I didn't want Barbie to change, so her being like the new face of Barbie upset me.
I'm into the power of suggestion.
So she secretly loved her, and she...
No, really, like, I was watching a random video the other day on YouTube, and it wasn't like a toy video, but they started advertising these dolls by MGA that were like rainbow surprise. They're like 14 inches, and you put like slime in their clothes, and it was like a 3-minute ad, and normally I'm like, skip, and I sat there and I'm like, this looks like an MGA doll, and I like watched the whole ad, and then I'm like Googling things because
and by the time she picked me up at work, she was telling me all about it.
And then I was like stalking them at Walmart when I went grocery shopping a few days later.
That's so funny.
But you can't look at them because they're like a surprise. You don't know which one you're getting, and that was disappointed me.
That is so lame. I would want to know which one I was getting.
I want to know which one I'm getting.
Oh yeah.
I think you can order them online.
That's cool.
Anyways, that's neither here nor there, but I'm very like prone to the power of suggestion.
She is. And I was kind of like, I don't usually get rid of things. Like I like to hang on to things. But the only doll that I was like keen on like getting rid of was actually my Pretty Hearts Barbie from the same birthday I got my Hollywood Hair Ken actually. She actually liked that doll so much she replaced her. And I actually forget that our new Faith isn't like our original Faith, because to me it's all the same. But this is Felix, and for some reason she's the only Pretty Hearts Barbie that I actually find pretty. I don't know what it is about her, but she has a really unique face.
I like her one with saran hair.
Oh yeah, she's cool too.
What do we name her? I know it's Faith, Fiona, Felix.
Faith, Felix, Fiona, I think
Felicia? We joke about how her name should be Bandit because She's the pure definition of a mooch. This is my favorite Rockers Barbie. However, she is not my nicest Rockers Barbie. I mean, now she might look it. But this doll had the worst hair. Like, it was burned. It was like really thin. It was like a Brillo pad. And no boil washing could bring it back. Like, it just looked disgusting. You couldn't even tell it was Saran at some point. Her body was, I don't remember, I think she was like off the body, and the body that was hers was like mutilated. Like, it had a huge neck crack.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
She was on a temporary body, and then when I found one that had the like 80s tiny defined toes, that's what she got. She also got a reroot. So normally I would not reroot a doll. I already had my other 2 Rockers.
I was about to say she was like your third.
I did not need this
2
doll.
were very nice.
This is what I mean when I say that the 80s is my favorite decade. Like, every time we see 80s Barbies at the flea market, naked with clothes, all duplicates, I want them. So she got rerooted, a new body, an outfit. This doll was a mooch, and I didn't need to save her, but like, I tried so hard to save her, and I kept her in her shabby condition for a long time that I just didn't have the heart. Like, once I've said I'm keeping you and you're my doll.
Yeah, once she was grandfathered in, like sometimes a doll with hair that was that bad, we would have been like, oh, okay, well, because you'd have to do a full reroot because it was burn damage bad. We would normally be like body donor, but
she didn't have a body
what
donate.
ended up happening, especially because she didn't have a body to donate, it was just like, oh, sorry, we can't save you, because it is expensive to reroot and to do it right. So we like...
Yeah, and if I'm going to put like, I mean, I can reroot pretty fast. If I'm going to put like 6 hours into a doll and spend like, I don't know, $5 on hair, I want it to be something like worthwhile. And it means something to me, and part of why this doll meant a lot to me is because she was the one I saw in that bag. I remember I was going through, and I also saw Cut and Style Barbie. I remember her, and I was like, ooh, Cut and Style Barbie. Oh, she has cut hair. So I kind of like chucked her aside. And then I saw Rockers Barbie, and my heart was like, Rockers Barbie. And I saw this poor, sad, unwanted thing, and I remember struggling with that inner turmoil I always have every time I've seen 80s Barbie. Do I need this?
Do I need this? It's like Confessions of a Shopaholic. Do I need
I remember
this?
you were like, oh, should we see how much they are? And I'm like, no. It was all because I have a problem with 80s Barbies.
But actually what's funny is she and Christine are Dance Magic Barbie that ended up being a hair donor for Cool Times. She and Christine got hair from the same like new bag we ordered off of, was it Restore Doll.
One of my favorites. She's one of my favorite dolls in my entire collection. She's my favorite Rockers Barbie. She's like spoiled rotten. Like, she's one of those dolls where I'm like, Rockers Barbie every time I see her. This doll is not from this lot, but we got her about a year later because we bumped into Bob at the flea market.
And she was by herself in a case with some clothes, and I remember her finding cool crimp Kevin pants in there. So, like, I remember random things. So it was like, you know, early 90s stuff, but she was kind of older than most of the clothes. This is a 1989 My First Barbie.
No.
But I say that because she was your first Barbie.
Yeah.
And Dela was also
But by that logic, should be a 1993 My First Barbie.
I know, right? This is 1989.
Clothing sold separately.
Ice-Capades.
Wait, and here.
Ice-Capades Barbie. 1989, my nude first Barbie.
Yeah.
So Shelly's first Barbie was an Ice-Capades Barbie. And aside from Christian, who is a China variant, who Ray got us for Christmas one year in 2014, she's the nicest, like, by far. She's like really in good shape.
She's really thick hair.
She has thick, lustrous, golden, shiny hair.
I still don't have her outfit, but this fashion pack, this is an Ice-Capades fashion pack that I got sometime in those early years of adult doll collecting.
Yeah, I feel like we've had it a long time.
I don't remember where it came from anymore.
And she's really awesome.
Oh, did it come from the filthy Disney bin?
Probably, because I would have guessed it was childhood,
that's
so
gonna
yeah.
be a fun one to do those ones.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun.
So I hope you guys enjoyed these dolls, meeting them and hearing the story behind them. I know that if you've watched our collection videos, Obviously, these dolls were all in those collection videos because
we had them before the YouTube channel.
Right, but it's nice to kind of see them together and to tell the story like collectively, because in a collection video they're kind of scattered throughout different videos, or even in the same video they're not always next to each other. And so this is kind of like a way to go more into detail of the story. So we will be doing more of these. We have plenty of ideas. There's some really special lots that we would love to share with you guys. But let me know if you liked these, because if you did like this style, like this topic, we can definitely prioritize doing more of them.
Also, let us know how this this location worked for you in terms of filming.
And all of these dolls are pictured on my Flickr, so if you want to see like them up close, or you want to see like their outfits, like if they're what they're supposed to come in, if say I have a duplicate that has their outfit, you can just check out my albums on Flickr. You don't need a Flickr to look. You know, if you want to identify a doll or whatever, that's the best place to go. So until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.
Hello, Bailey. Hello. Would you like to tell everyone how you're doing? Would you like to tell everyone how you're doing and thank them for wishing you well? You've got hair on your face.